Hello and welcome to the riff of what I can only assume is the final chapter of the 1944 Captain America serial. Why do I think it's the final chapter without even checking? Well, this is chapter 12, and have you ever heard of a cliffhanger serial that went beyond 12 chapters? I mean 13 chapters possibly, 14 at the absolute maximum, but 15? Get the hell out of here. No, I'm quite content that this is the end of Captain America, and we'll be able to move on to something that doesn't involve cliffhangers of him beating up two guys, one of whom gets away, and then there's an explosion. Kay Kaiser crosses the road. Wasn't that a line from Love Shack? Cap's dating profile needs work. At least he sucked his tummy in. Well, we are just all out of plot this week, aren't we? If we're going back this far.
Captain America.
Are you sure? Take a second look. It could be Santo the Silver Mask Man.
How long will it take it to revive?
Well, only a few seconds. But I hope by that time Captain America will have captured both of you.
Okay, you don't have to be a bitch about it. Cap must be on some knockoff form of Ozempic, given that he always seems to be thin in long shots, but much chubbier in close-ups. So, how was God? Was he cool?
Get out of the window, Matson.
I appreciate you've only been alive for 30 seconds, but get with the programme. The one time Cap didn't bring his gun, and there was nobody who was in a position to kick it out of his hand.
Pick up the machine and follow him.
Please say the restroom's in here. I have to pee like a Clydesdale. Consider this case closed. This lab technician is really holding his own, isn't he? There is absolutely no honour among henchmen. That was a proto-Wilhelm. Oh, Cap, have you put on weight? I mean, since the beginning of this chapter?
A dead man has been brought back to life.
Can you stand it?
Astonishing news came from the district attorney's office today when it was announced here that Bart Matson, the notorious Scarlet henchman who died yesterday, was resurrected by Dr. Lyman's life-restoring machine.
That story again, existence as we know it has no meaning. How was it reported?
An electrical laboratory in which the body of Dr. Lyman was found in the midst of the wreckage of his machine.
So fix the machine and get Lyman back to life.
You're the only authentic case of modern times of a man who was returned from the dead.
What about Brendan Fraser?
For that. Too bad Lyman smashed the machine. Yes, it's unfortunate. However, we've destroyed another enemy.
Don't forget that Captain America turned Dirk over to the police. They'll slap a murder charge on him.
I'm all worked up about it.
The only witness is Captain America, and he can't testify without revealing his identity. If he does that, we should be compensated for the risk we are taking.
Dirk might talk. They put the screws on.
No, I'm taking all precaution. Our lawyer has gone to see him. He'll warn Dirk to keep silent.
And the lawyer used to work for the British Post Office, so you know he's crooked.
Hello, Grant. Did you get anything out of Dirk?
Not yet, but I will. Dirk will crack up when he's charged with murder.
But you can't make a murder charge stick. You haven't any witnesses.
I can't watch
What you can
this.
prove is that Dirk was present at the time of Dr. Lyman's death. Any smart lawyer will smash your case in no time.
But Captain America will.
Captain America was unquestionably a witness, but you can't produce him.
He has the boxiest body I've ever seen. David Byrne is jealous of that suit.
His body was found beside the smashed machine. Now, if I can prove that Dirk was the unknown masked man who helped Matson with the abduction, I'll convict him of murder.
But you can't prove anything. Gail Richards, your assistant, is the only witness who made a positive identification of Dirk as one of the abductors. Her unsupported testimony will not be sufficient in court.
Women aren't allowed to testify without the permission of their husbands.
Still one more witness. May I use the phone?
Help yourself.
Get me Dr. Malder at the Drummond Museum.
The Drummer Museum, you say? Not familiar.
Yes, Gardner. Is there something I can do for you?
Can I borrow your monocle?
We have a prisoner here who we believe is one of Lyman's murderers. Now, we'll have a case against him if you can testify that he was one of Lyman's abductors.
But he was masked.
Also, I was unconscious. Remember that? Remember how unconscious I was?
I understand that. But we'll put a mask on the prisoner, and there may be something, some gesture or some mannerism that you may recognize. At any rate, it's worth a trial. Now, could you arrange to be in my office at 2 o'clock this afternoon?
Of course. And I hope you have the right man.
I've been looking for the right man all these years. Barry Morse? Were you always 100?
What news, Counselor? The district attorney is going to spring a surprise witness to identify Dirk as one of Dr. Lyman's abductors.
I know all about that. I've just talked with the district attorney. As a matter of fact, I am to be the surprise witness.
You? Excellent. That will knock that case into a cocked hat.
Whatever that means.
Habeas corpus?
I gotta get me a cocked hat one of these
I
days.
shall identify Dirk as being one
Are
of
they anything like truck nuts?
Identify him? Well, you can't do that. Dirk will squeal.
Like Ned Beatty in Deliverance.
Being framed to take a murder rap, to tell everything he knows.
Exactly. He's become a danger to my organization. I've devised a little plan that will take care of him and the district attorney at the same time. Return to Dirk at once. Tell him he'll be released if he obeys my instructions implicitly.
What if he obeys your
I'll
instructions
presently report him to the
explicitly?
district attorney's office and...
You should probably tell Dirk what your plan is as well.
Miss Richards says when Matson attacked you, tore off his mask.
That is true. But neither of us saw the face of the other man.
The man you're about to see is wearing the same mask you took from Matson. Miss Richards has identified him. We hope you can corroborate.
If a mere woman can identify him, surely you of all people. I mean, theoretically, if this is true, he should be able to identify Captain America as well, and then the serial is over. Please, 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 please. 1940s Green Hornet?
No, I'm sure this is not the one.
Quite right, Doctor. This man is one of my operatives. Bring in the next result.
Also, I have 74 operatives.
You understand, Doctor, we've got to be absolutely sure. We don't want your judgment influenced by your friendship for Lyman.
Of course. My opinion will be without prejudice, I assure you.
This opinion, every other opinion I have is highly prejudiced. Basically, never invite me round for Thanksgiving. Didn't I see you at last week's Eyes Wide Shut party?
Unquestionably is the man who looted Matson in the raid on Lyman's house.
That's a lie. You're trying to frame me.
Are you willing to identify this man under oath? Positively. That's good enough to convict. Book him for murder.
Murder? You can't do that. Suppose I talk. What'll I get?
If you'll name the scarab, I'll accept a plea of guilty of second-degree murder.
Second-degree murder is basically like jaywalking at this stage.
All right. Scarab was Doc Lyman himself.
Oh, that's preposterous.
The man's crazy.
Lyman was a soul of honor. He might just as well accuse me of being the scarab.
That trick won't work. You can't save your neck by accusing a dead man.
It's true. Lyman was using his machine to bring Matson back to life.
Why did Matson kill him?
How can I tell what a man will do who's just been resurrected from the dead?
Well, there's a book about a guy who did that.
I can prove it, but I won't talk before this guy, whoever he is.
All right. If you'll excuse us, Doctor, and thanks for your help.
Glad to give you. Glad.
I'm just going to be smug out here now.
Now talk. What's your evidence?
Lyman's papers and a list of all his agents. They're hidden in his house.
Lyman's house was thoroughly searched before it was closed up.
You didn't know the scarab. There are secret compartments in his house that your caps could never find.
The Scarab is just a mess of secret compartments. We were very close.
See that you don't fail this time.
Like you have in the previous 11 episodes.
It's of no further use to us. He and Gardner must be destroyed.
Leave it to me. I'll drop them the minute they come through the door.
You think being dead and brought back to life will give him some kind of a new outlook?
Let them know that theirs is the fate of all who attempt to thwart the Scarab.
DA is driving up in front with Dirk.
Good. I'll wait in the car.
What exactly does the Scarab have as a master plan now, seeing as how the secret to eternal life got smashed to pieces in front of him? This is just an exercise in ass covering. Like the lovemaking scene in Danger Diabolic. That's curtains for him.
Gardner.
Good work, Matson. I knew the Scarab wouldn't let me down.
Quiet, you double-crosser. When you threatened to squeal, you signed your own death warrant. As for you, Mr. D.A., you're finally going to pay the penalty for interfering with the Scarab.
And it never occurred to Mr. D.A. to bring any of his operatives with him for this operation. The kids who snuck into this house and are now hiding under the dust sheets are severely regretting it. Man, furniture was sturdy in those days. Kung Fu! It's like a cross between John Woo and the Antiques Roadshow, which is something I never knew I wanted or needed until now. I'm starting to suspect that this serial didn't actually employ stuntmen, just guys who really, really enjoyed wrestling one another. The fact that everything they throw at him is under a dust sheet adds an air of mystery to the proceedings, I find. I mean, there could be a stool under there, there could be an axe, who knows? Let's call it a draw. Wow, he really got his strength back after being shot to death that time. Which or whose gun is that? Bearing in mind you threw away your own because it had no bullets in it? All this exercise and he doesn't burn any of that weight off.
Take care of anyone who follows us.
By which I mean buy them dinner, take them dancing. You know, just show them a really good time. They've earned it if they want it this badly. It's not exactly Knight Rider, is it? But then again, I was never a huge fan of Knight Rider, so that's not a problem. They should rename this serial Taking Corners at Speed, as opposed to Taking Corners on Speed, which I can't really talk about because my court date hasn't been set yet. You know, I'm entirely happy to take 20 minutes of this chase sequence as read if we just want to get to the cliffhanger. Shooting while steering is probably past the American driving test, I imagine. He's either going to have to drop the gun or take his hands off the steering wheel to change into Cap. Are we really not going to have a climax featuring Captain America in the serial entitled Captain America? AKA Taking Corners at Speed? Could guns hold like 1,000 bullets back then? Mannix! The world's deepest cleavage.